Pat Richie was our chaplain with the 49ers in 1990. I think Pat and Dave Bratton for the Giants wanted to give the players a chance to use one of the biggest sports platforms in history to glorify Jesus. And we had some players that were willing to do that. Pat kind of got everybody fired up, saying, hey, this is going to be one of the most watched games in NFL history. We've got the Monday night matchup. It's our bitter rival at the time, the New York Giants. We'd had many battles with them, and we're going to be able to do something really special. And everyone was waiting for him to say, and he said, we're gonna kneel down after the game and pray with other members of the New York Giants and just be able to acknowledge that there's something greater in our lives than just the game of football. And everybody kind of left the meeting fired up, and it's funny how as it got closer to the game, started second guessing yourself and started wondering, I wonder if this is really a good idea. The post-game camaraderie and frivolity that you see nowadays did not exist in the late 80s and early 90s. It was rivals were rivals. There were guys that truly didn't like each other. You might have a quick handshake, but other than that, you weren't staying on the field, slapping hands, exchanging jerseys, talking about the wife and kids. It just wasn't a thing back then. The Giants were a team that you didn't pal around with for sure. The game was a super intense defensive battle. The year prior, they missed the playoffs because we rested our starters on the last day of the season. And Phil Simms, one of his famous quotes at that time was, the 49ers laid down like dogs. You couldn't have said anything worse to Ronnie Lott, and he remembered it. And there was no love lost between these two teams. The physicality of the game was just as tough as any game I'd ever played in, and it was tight right down to the wire. So we were supposed to meet the Giants on the 50 and kneel down and pray as soon as the game was over. The clock runs out. Phil Simms is sacked. Ronnie Lott's in his face right around the 45, 50-yard line. And we're not sprinting out to pray. We're kind of slowly looking around, making sure all of our guys are there. Hey, you guys, we're doing this, right? Yep, we're doing this. And so we're ambling toward the 50-yard line, and there's Ronnie Lott, into it with Phil Simms, and got his hands on his face mask, and they're screaming at each other. And all of a sudden, the media and cameras and people from all over, guys are trying to break it up, and there's a big mass of people at the 50-yard line, and we're like, what? We can't pray on the 50-yard line, and we're looking around, and we don't see any Giants guys, and so we're kind of fumbling, stumbling, and we kind of, like an amoeba, kind of wander down toward the 30-yard line on our side, and we kind of look around, and we're looking for Giants guys, and there's no one to be found. And so we wait a second, and we kneel down, and we're like, well, we're going to pray even if they don't get here. And so no sooner did we kneel down and clasp hands, I could feel two guys come flying in. I didn't know who it was. Reach in, knock your hand down, grab hands, and knelt and prayed with us. It was two Giants guys. It was Howard Cross and Renee Thompson. And I get goosebumps thinking about it because it was such a commitment. A commitment to your Lord, a commitment to your faith, a commitment to stand above the game of football. The league wasn't really thrilled about it. Not too many people know, but after the first one, we got a letter in our locker that said, if you pray again, you're going to get fined $25,000. The league can be thought of as the almighty, NFL, but they're no match for God. few years later, every team in the league was praying after the game. And just the spreading team by team and player by player and league by league to all the way down to colleges and high school and youth sports, and the global impact from, the game of soccer that's, the most popular sport in the world. It's amazing.